what's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Daily Score. I am Mark Grote. Thanks for joining us, and this is our schedule release party for the 2024 Chicago Bears. And I got to tell you what, the Week 1 matchup for the Bears, their season opener, which is at Soldier Field against the Tennessee Titans at noon, is already a must-win. That's right. I said it. It's a must-win because they host the Titans in that first game, and then the next two games against good teams on the road, at Texas in Week 2, at the Colts in Week 3. So, yep, I'm already doing that. I would encourage the Bears to win that very first game against the Titans, who were 6-11 last year. They have Will Levis, second-year quarterback, a first-year head coach in Brian Callahan. They can't have their bleep together yet to begin the season. They did draft the tackle out of Alabama, J.C. Latham, to obviously work with Will Levis in that offense. So the Bears, Week 1 against the Tennessee Titans. Like I said, Week 2, Sunday Night Football against the Houston Texans. That one's going to be hyper, man, because C.J. Stroud has become, the new measuring stick for what rookie quarterbacks can do. He had huge success last year into the playoffs. DeMeco Ryans was very good as a head coach. The Texans have their stuff together, and they are going to be wanting more for sure. So that's going to be interesting. Caleb Williams against C.J. Stroud in Week 2 of the regular season at the Texans on Sunday Night Football. Week 3, at the Colts, a noon game, a Colts team which was 9-8 last year. We'll see if Anthony Richardson is healthy and ready to go for that game. Week 4, what's a Bears schedule without a game against the Los Angeles Rams? It feels like they play that team twice a year, but the Bears will be hosting the Rams at noon in Week 4. That is a team that finished strong last year. They won the last 4 games of the season. I don't know if any of that was about getting their stuff together, but they finished the season at 10-7. They drafted Jared Verse, so you get to see the rookie defensive end out of Florida State in that game against the Rams. Sean McVay always brings a little bit of something special as well. Week 5, a home game against Carolina at noon. I love the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers, Bears fans, are our friends because they've just done so much for the Bears. They've given you Caleb Williams, essentially. They gave you DJ Moore. They've just done so much for you. But that ought to be, a win for the Bears. I mean, maybe Carolina will be that team that makes the jump. Maybe they will get their stuff together. Bryce Young, after a rough and tumble rookie year, nobody had time for him to struggle, man. But they were 2-15 last year. But remember, the Carolina Panthers are your friends, so don't go too hard on those guys. Week 6, the Bears will be in London to play the Jacksonville Jaguars. You got to work for that one. 8:30 kickoff that day as the Bears play in London. The last time they played in London was 2019, and that was kind of a disaster against the Raiders in so many different ways, including they lost the game. Akeem Hicks got injured. Khalil Mack did not have a good game against his ex-team. So let's see if the Bears can do better this time in London against Trevor Lawrence. The last time previous to Caleb Williams getting tagged with the word franchise quarterback, or I should say generational quarterback, that was Trevor Lawrence. That was the last time I remember hearing that about a quarterback. And so you'll have the newest generational quarterback against Trevor Lawrence, who hasn't looked like a generational quarterback. He's been good, but has not lived up to what a lot of us thought that he would be. So you got Week 6, Jags, Bears in London. Week 7 is the bye this year. Week 8, the Bears are at Washington. Caleb Williams going home to play a Washington team, which was 4-13 last year. The bigger headline in this one, the easy headline in this one, Caleb Williams versus Jaden Daniels, the 1 and 2 picks in the NFL draft this year. So that will definitely be a showdown in week 8. I mean, kind of hope that both quarterbacks are doing well at that point to make that game intriguing. Week 9, that one is at Arizona. So the Bears play Arizona. The Bears beat Arizona last year 27-16 in week 16. Cole Kmet had a huge game that day. So the Bears at Arizona taking on Kyler Murray and company, who did play well against the Bears last year as well. Week 10, I love this matchup. Home against the Patriots at noon. By the way, the week 9 game, I don't think I mentioned it. The week 9 game against Arizona, this is a 3:05 game at Arizona. Then home in week 10 to play the New England Patriots. And in this game, another easy headline because you have Caleb Williams versus Drake May, another one of the young hot shot quarterbacks. Drake May, you've got Jared Mayo as the new head coach taking over for Bill Belichick. So that Patriots team will be different in terms of their identity in so many different ways. Week 11, first divisional game, Bears and the Packers. The Bears were swept by Jordan Love and company last year. They were essentially embarrassed in the first game and then just looked sluggish in that final game at Green Bay last year. We'll see if things turn around, after what Green Bay did. And they go on to whip Dallas and then lose to San Francisco. Now, people say, like, what's the hardest games on the schedule for the Bears? It's the 2 games against the Packers. The Bears, we don't need to go through all the numbers. They have sucked against the Packers. So those are the hardest games of the year. And it starts with the Packers in week 11, a noon game at Soldier Field. The next week, the Bears will be hosting the Minnesota Vikings. Will J.J. McCarthy be quarterbacking by that? I do believe he will. I'd be very shocked if he doesn't. But obviously, you get to see him working with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and the rest of that Minnesota offense in week 12 of the season. Week 13, the Bears are at the Lions on Thanksgiving Day. We know what Detroit did last year, 12-5, advanced to the NFC title game until San Francisco took them out. Detroit did improve their defense this year, getting Terrion Arnold, the cornerback, out of Alabama to add to Aiden Hutchinson and the rest of that crew. So, last year, after being very offensive-minded in the draft, Detroit thinking a little bit of defense. Bears and Lions split their season series last year. So week 13, Bears at the Lions, again, on Thanksgiving. That's an 11:30 a.m. game, so in the morning. Week 14, the Bears take on San Francisco on the road. That's going to be a tough one, man. San Francisco was in the Super Bowl last year. You could hope for the Super Bowl hangover, but it should be over by week 14. Brock Purdy and Samuel and the rest of these guys, just an excellent 49ers team. Don't really have to say much more about how talented that San Francisco team is. They did draft Darius Robinson, the defensive end out of Missouri, as well. So that's another one. The Green Bay games are still harder, okay, until further notice. But that's what's going on in week 14. Week 15, the Bears are at Minnesota on Monday Night Football. Week 16, they will be home against the Lions at noon. We'll see if that game is of consequence by then. Week 17, the Bears take on the Seattle Seahawks. That would be interesting, too. That's a Thursday night football game. And interesting just because Shane Waldron, who, made his name, to a bigger degree. I know he's been around a long time, but what he did in Seattle essentially got him the job as the Bears offensive coordinator. So we'll see what Waldron has in mind that day. Seattle also drafted a guy that I'm very intrigued to see. He's a boomer bust guy, in my opinion. Byron Murphy, the defensive tackle out of Texas. And then I love it. Week 18, the Bears finish out the season at Green Bay. Time to be determined in that game. So that's the snapshot and some capsules that just come to mind looking through the Bears schedule, the regular season schedule. It does blow me away. It is wild that the Bears don't have a division game until week 11 versus Green Bay. So 6 division games from week 11 on. So they'll be cramming it in. I guess it's good that by then, in theory, the Bears will be pumping on all cylinders, but so would their opponents be at that time as well. I was a little bit surprised that the Bears didn't have more primetime night games. And I'm just talking just because of the big improvements the Bears made and because of the Caleb Williams intrigue. I thought that there would be more. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with 3. I just thought the NFL would have them doing more. But, Thanksgiving is a primetime game, if you look at it that way. London, a standalone game, too. So they got plenty. And obviously, there's the Packers game to be determined. And you have some flex opportunities along the way as well. I think that, as Bears fans, there's been too many times in recent years where your team got embarrassed on Monday Night Football or Thursday Night Football or Sunday Night Football or the 3 p.m. game, if you like, that standalone game. So I'm personally okay with it. And I think that, it's probably just about the right amount, but I just thought the NFL would get carried away with the Bears in that regard. So those are some of the things that stand out. Let me give you the preseason schedule as well, because I know some people want to make plans to go to see some of that. The Bears will have 4 preseason games this year because they'll be playing in the Hall of Fame game. The rest of the NFL, 3 of them, but the Bears get the bonus game. And here's the way it goes down to the preseason. The first preseason game, Thursday, August 1, against the Houston Texans in the Hall of Fame game in Canton, Ohio, a primetime game, 7 p.m. Then Saturday, August 10th, they will be at the Buffalo Bills at noon. The Bears have only one Soldier Field preseason game this year, and that is Saturday, August 17th, when they host the Bengals. That will be at noon, and then they close out the preseason Thursday, August 22nd at the Kansas City Chiefs, and that will be a 7 p.m. game before the Bears get the regular season started. So that's it. The Bears schedule is out. I have not done the thing yet. I have not gone through and done the wins and losses. I'll save that for one of the nights that I'll be hosting. I'll actually be hosting on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Well, they tell me I got to talk baseball on Sunday because it's hit and run, but sometime on the Score Friday night or maybe Saturday, 11 a.m. to 12:45, I'll do the thing, the wins and the losses. So we'll talk to you later. Thanks for everybody for listening and watching the Daily Score. For our executive producer, Ray Diaz, I'm Mark Grote. Have a great rest of your day.